Welcome to Trains Around Scotland for January 2024. Wasting no time, let's get right into the action. Wasting no time, this is Ardmore near Cardross at the foot of the West Highland Line on the 3rd of January, with a look at a MOD train first, 6M63, the 1115 from Glen Douglas to Carlsile NY, Royal Scotsman livery 66743, and a rather unusual rake of 13 VGA van wagons. Same day, same train now in the Ckyde Valley as the train heads south just before Crawford. Back in October of 2023, the Air Station Hotel caught on fire, and as a result Air Station itself would close until further notice, which would leave the Prestwick tanks in a bit of a sticky situation, as they would normally use Air Station to run round, and ScotRail were now using Falkland Yard to turn their services around. The tanks would need to be diverted to Mauchline on the GSW route. Head code 6R46, the 0710 from Grangemouth to Prestwick loaded aviation fuel. Train arrives into the goods loop at Mauchline at around 10:42, 56096 in charge. If you are wondering for the next few clips how we have just went from these shrubs and into the air, it is using one of these camera poles to bring you never before seen angles. So 56096 starts the run round by pulling off the train and onto the GSW itself to reverse back around. In typical style, the old semaphore signals that you see in front of you would not actually be working this day, so the driver gets permission from the signaller to pass them at danger. Time now 11:20 and the train departs to head for Newton Junction. Finally, some lovely but cold winter sunshine on the 5th at Ardmore, for two locomotives in around 20 minutes of each other. Quite rare for this section of line. First would be 6Z45, the 0806 Fort William to North Blythe Alcan tanks, running as 6Z rather than the booked 6 Echo due to being diverted via the main Edinburgh to Glasgow. The two axle bogied PCA tanks that have run this train for many a year now are due to be replaced at the end of the year. 66737 in charge. Then of course West Coast Railways, while losing their operator's licence for the operation of their Mark 1s, are still running seasonal snow trains, and this is a return south of 1, 37518 on OZ37 Tomna Fair to Carnforth. The Leavenmouth branch is now the latest line to be built in Scotland, with construction kicking off in March of 2023. And here we are now in January of 2024 and the first trains are running down the line. Whilst this may not be the first ever train down the line, it is certainly the first HST power cars ever to trek this line. And who would have guessed two ex-cross-country livery power cars, 43321 and 285, now with Collis Rail Freight, on OZ30, slate for return via Leven and the Fife Coast. This is the somewhat classic shot of Cameron Bridge with the distillery in the background. Train passes at 10:55. Time now 11:11 and this is a view east towards Leven Station with the Fife Heritage Railway behind us and then the River Leven off to the right hand side as the train departs back to Slateford. Seen one last time at North Queen's Ferry at 11:42. Same day now and a look at some East Coast freight action, with kicking things off the Monday to Friday's Engineers 6S31 0637 Doncaster up decoy to Millerhill Engineers. On this day 7817 and a rake of loaded JNAs, passing here at Blindwells at around 14:06. Then finally to round out the 9th, this is Kirkland Hill, just to the east of East Linton ironically, with 6M50, the 1454 Tornez Power Station to Carlisle Kingmoor Flasks, 68017 top and tail 68033. We will see more of this pairing later on in the video. the day after on the 10th, and it is a return to the foot of the West Highland Line at Cardross, where we go to see yet again 6M63, the 11:15 from Glen Douglas to Carlisle mod train, throwing up some rather unusual consists again, with 66304 and all green containers. Same day, same train, and maybe not the nicest weather possible at Cartland, but here we are at around 14:04. Remembering the East Coast freight that we seen on the 9th with 68017 and 033 on the Torness flasks. Well, now here we are 3 days later on the 11th, and on the west coast of Scotland down the Ayeshire coast, and the same pair of 68s are seen on 6M23, the 1322 from Hunterston Power Station to Sellafield flasks yet again. Due to the decommissioning of the plant now well underway, the flasks typically leave Hunterston over 100 early, and this day is no exception, with the train passing the Saltcote seawall here at 12:01, and the train is not booked to pass here until 14:09. 68033 leading 017. Saturday the 13th now, and it's time for the one and only rail tour of the month that would happen, and what a rail tour it was, with LSL bringing the Ayrliner tour, with the first leg 1Z29, the 0812 crew to Glasgow Central, seen here at Bodsbury, south of Abington on the West Coast Minline with 86101, top and tailed 87002. Then it would be down Ayeshire for the second leg of the tour. Of course, calling it the Ayrliner maybe isn't quite accurate anymore due to the fact that the train cannot quite get to Ayr, instead having to only go to Barassie Junction. The train 1Z30, 1232 from Glasgow Central to Barassie, with now 87002 leading 86101. Then the return from Barassie Junction, 1Z31, the 1335 from Barassie to Glasgow Central, 86101 now leading again, 87002 on the back. The next clip is kindly donated by SR380110, and what a sunset for the return, 1Z32, the 1611 from Glasgow Central to Crewe, passing here at Uddington at 1621 with 87002 leading. Back in April of 2022, the Sundays only Rolls Royce contract that ran from Grangeworth Oil Terminal to Sinfin Sidings would come to a close. But here we are on the 17th of January with 6M80, the 1800 from Grangeworth Oil Terminal to Sinfin Sidings underway, 56096 and the rake of TDA wagons off of the Prestwick aviation tanks, passing here at Wallyford at around 2016. Nowadays you need to pick your days quite carefully as to when to go out to maximise the amount of movements that you're going to see. This is the West Coast Minline in between Carlisle and Law Junction. At this location, the Thursday is the current best day to go. Kicking things off, this is Bodsbury with 6S48, the 1021 from Port of Workington to Aberdeen Waterloo Slurries with 7811. Then keeping with the theme of coals rail freight, this is 6S37, the 1014 from Carlisle to Ravenscroller empty aggregates train with 56105 and a lengthy rake of IOA wagons. Then on this day, 6S50, the Monday to Friday Carlisle to Millerhill West Coast Engineers would be running as OS50 with 66120. Then on this day, Veramis Rail would be taking a little jaunt to Carlisle and back on 5Z100, the 1226 from Moss End to Carlisle, bringing 321407, still in its ex-Capita Connect livery, but sporting the Veramis Rail stickers. Then it's to Crawford Curve on the same day, with the look at the Avanti West Coast Class 807s now in testing on 5Q31, the 1234 from Glasgow Central return to Oxley Car with 807002. Then it's returned to Bodsbury one last time for 4S43, the 0625 from Daventry to Moss End Tesco Express. Due to 88010 having a little slip up at Crewe, this train is running over an hour late, passing at 1408 with 88007. Then it would be the return for Veramis Rail, 5Z01, the 1426 return from Carlisle back to Moss End, with again 321407. Then it would be to Wandle north of Abington for a look at a train that is currently quite off and on with its running, being 4M01, the 1446 from Moss End PD Stirling return to Carlisle empty cement with 66736. Then would be the return of 56105 on 6M37, the 1636 from Ravenscroller return to Carlisle, running around 51 minutes early off of Ravenscroller and passing here at Wando around 60 minutes early at 1558. Kilmarnock Bonnyton Depot still have the contract with Direct Rail Services for the refurb of their flask wagons. Here is one such move on a rather wet and windy day down the GSW on the 25th with 6Z20, the 0735 from Carlisle Kingmoor to Kilmarnock Bonnyton Depot, 66426 bringing the rather unusual consist of a KUA flask and two Mark II BSOs, seen here passing Newcombe Knock at 0852. Then with the annoyingly loud tractor in the background, this is now the return working 6Z21, the early 1103 from Kilmarnock Bonnyton return to Kingmoor, 66426 and the two Mark II BSOs, as they were only required to escort the KUA flask up to Bonnyton, passing here at Crossroads just south of Kilmarnock at around 10:58. To round out the 25th, this is West Kilbride Station with a rather unusual sight of only one side of the track having OHLE. Well, during its heyday of coal, this line was very busy with trains heading to Hunterston High and Low Level, so much in fact that a freight only line was built, the side of the track opposite to the camera. Since the coal traffic has since ended, there is only one train booked to use this line, which is 6M23, the 1322 from Hunterston to Sellafield Flasks. Locos on this day were 68007 and 88005. The 29th of January now, and it's time for the monthly NMT. ONQ23, the 1108 from Slateford Depot to Newcastle, passing here at Cadder HST Depot around 13:36, 43257 leading 062. The train then heads into Glasgow Queen Street, where it reverses to head back towards Edinburgh and then onwards to Newcastle. This is Greenhill Upper Junction around 14:23, with now 43062 Mark Armit making a return to NMT duties after being out of service since around April 2021. The day after on the 30th now, and it's on the West Coast Minline just north of Carstairs at Ravenstrother. First would be OZ80, the 0832 from Carlsile NY to Grangeworth Oil Terminal, 56096, which would then form 6M80 to Sinfin later on that night. Then next would be the NMT 1Q26, the 0613 from Derby RTC to Edinburgh Waverley via Glasgow Central, 43257 and 062. Then the return now seen at Cartland at around 14:38 with 43062 now leading. Then finally that night on the 30th to round out the month, this is 6M80, the 1826 from Grangeworth Oil Terminal to Sinfin Sidings, 56096 again, and rather unusual for this working to be happening on a Tuesday, as previously before this working was a Sundays only, seen here at Greenfalls at around 1917.